Hey Marcia, how you doing? Hope you're well. Let me know if the background music is too loud or if it's fine. Hey Joe, how you doing? Music is slightly loud, right? Okay. Let me know. Let me know now. Hey Razil. Yeah, Marcia, it's been a bit of a while on YouTube. To be fair, it's like I think somebody asked me yesterday, and like I kind of said, it's like most people that stream on YouTube stream for it to be like a revenue, so they kind of treat it like a full-time job. But for me, it's never been like that. Like, I just randomly jump on. I'm very random when I feel like when I do some education, I jump on because I have no interest in it being a revenue source. Otherwise, I'd be doing it like most other people are full-time and just bashing away at it. No worries, Razor. Naz was a perfect setup. Had it marked up, but missed the move. I wouldn't say you missed the move. So if we look at Naz, you know, yes, it's rejected off of that area, but what you got to take into account on Naz is the fact if we look at higher time frame. So where did we really get a breaker structure? We really got a breaker structure on Naz over here. Alright, so here is where we really got a 4H breaker structure. So if we look at that, again, it's been trending so aggressively. This was really the last point where we had some sort of structure form. And then we had this push up. Now, this over here was not a swing low because it failed to break above previous highs. So here's where we had a break. So that meant that this is our swing high, lower high, and here's our lower low. Now, when we had this M15 break over here, we entered a 4-hour pullback. Now, what you got to bear in mind is, on the higher time frame, do we have any real unmitigated areas of supply? Probably one over here you could see on the 4-hour time frame, where you could kind of see price tapped into it here, but not really as much. And if we look at price here, that zone sits perfectly within our fib retracement, so we could expect price potentially to work its way back up into this region here and then sell off. But what you also need to realize is that price has also mitigated the 50% of the swing, as you can see from the GAN box. So with no real significant imbalance, does price have to continue higher? No, this could be the pullback complete. So if we now come down to a slightly lower time frame, you could see here is where the market was trending, lower low, lower high, 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 and then we had this huge sell-off. Here is where we had the shift. Now on the hourly chart, we could perfectly see we have levels of unmitigated supply in these regions. So we definitely have more scope to the top side. This was the area where we were looking for price to come back into, which it has done, and now we've tapped into it. What you just want to see is we have areas of supply over here wait to see if we can get a breakout and a pullback, and then we could start to trade this back to the top side, take partials along the way here. But now what we can expect is to see, just going to put it on the hour, it's easier to kind of um, cover it. We could probably expect price to continue doing this until we tap into areas of supply at 15,500 and areas of supply at 15,600. Yeah, and the thing is, you could just target this supply. You don't have to continue trading this to the top side, but it's setting up pretty nicely for a continuation to the top side. We perfectly came into this 50%. We tapped into that 50% retracement. We had these. We created the London liquidity. Asian liquidity. London opened. We swept Asian lows, and now we're pushing above. But what we also creating, we're creating some nice imbalance and unmitigated demand zones. So if we see a mitigation of this and then price comes back, we need to wait for this demand to hold, and then we could look to get long. Or if price breaks above this and retraces into an area of demand, then we could look to get long. If it taps into supply and comes into here, for argument's sake, then what I would like to see is on a lower time frame, see that confirmation of the shift, because price could just react to this supply. This could have just been a reaction point from this high time frame demand, and we could continue selling off. So you need to be careful with those. So yeah, so there's definitely set up opportunities. Just need to be patient with those and wait for price to do its thing. We had an aggressive sell-off yesterday, but again, indices are pretty much renowned and known for that. But what you don't want this to be is you don't want this just to be a reaction from this unmitigated demand back into an area of supply here and for price to just roll over. Because like I said, price has mitigated the 50% and we could sell off, but we do have, on like the hourly time frame, we do have unmitigated areas of supply for price to continue pushing up into. But the downside sometimes is when you don't have if the market was like trending to the downside like this, and we did this, yeah, we could comfortably get in because we've then shifted. But where we had this huge sell-off, the last internal structure was this point, so demand failed here, price came into this extreme, swept all of the liquidity from these lows here. So if you look at this, we have a perfect trendline liquidity here, all swept, mitigated this, and now we're bouncing off of this. So we at least want to see the first area of supply fell in order for us to get involved and start trading at least all of this imbalance into the top side. So trading is it's important that you factor these things in and don't just aggressively get involved with the markets. There's times where you can get involved or where we should get involved aggressively, and then there's other times where we shouldn't. It's just a matter of understanding which ones we should and which ones we shouldn't get involved with. Is there any pairs anyone wants me to have a look at? Remember, guys, drop a like on the stream. So let's go over some of the. So look at DXY. So DXY is broken out of this daily supply zone here. We had this daily supply. We're fast approaching this swing. So we could see, as we were discussing last night, a bullish shift in price looking to head and make its way back up towards potentially 109 kind of region. Before that, we do have an area of supply at 106. I'll check EU first and then go on to Sorry, Euro USD EU saying I'm not. Yeah, I'll check EU. So EU, if we look at EU. So EU again last night when we were talking about this, we had this. So let's go back to the hour. We had this area of demand here, and again, what did I say? In order for price to shift kind of bullish and fill out this imbalance of this swing structure. So we had yesterday when we were speaking last night, we had this high and we had this low. So when price came into this kind of demand zone, I said we needed to break above this and then retrace so we could start trading that. But this is what it is. Price does not always need to come back. And why is price not coming up here? Still a valid breaker structure to the downside, because you could see price mitigated that 50% retracement from this high to this low. So after we did that, we created a new internal break. So now we've mitigated this daily demand, and we're at the extreme demand within our fib. You could perfectly see prices reacting off of that fib. We currently have that high. This was the previous low. We can't call this the new low yet because we need to see a valid 50% retracement in order for this to be classified as a valid low. So right now, this is the range that we have. You know, we have this high, and so far we have this low. In order for me to be substantially bullish that we're gonna at least even enter a 15-minute retracement, which is that high to the current low, we need to see a breakout like this, and then we can start to trade this back to the top side into areas of supply. But for now, even looking to trade, say, the current swing, which is that current high, to this low, you know, what do we want to see? We at least want to see some strong bullish momentum coming in. And then if we mark up our fib from this 5-minute swing structure, we have some areas of supply that are unmitigated, and we could probably see price heading towards those highs and sweeping out. So London has swept Asian lows, so now we could see a sweep of Asian highs, but we need to see some bullish momentum and then a retracement to start trading this. So yeah, it could start setting up, but just need to be careful we don't get in too early or too aggressive. So right now, again, the only thing really on an intraday we have this current low, lower high, and this current lower low. We understand we're in the daily reversal, but we can't even think of higher time frame yet because we need this lower time frame swing structure to break this high in order for us to start trading the 15-minute pullback, and then we need price to break above this high in order for us to even think of price heading up towards these highs and entering on a 4-hour pullback. And not even a 4-hour pullback, more of like a daily break back to the top side. But as we also discussed yesterday, you know, we could start to see some downside in price, have a minor pullback, and then rolling over. You could see this is a weekly supply zone as well, so we have strong support at this area, so we can anticipate and expect to see some bullish momentum in here. But again, you want to see that shift. The last thing you want to do is just buy aggressively here, and price just comes in and rolls over at this area of supply. Like if you're super keen on kind of getting in, what you at least want to see is a break of supply and a pullback into demand to get involved. Because right now you could see we have supply here. Price is perfectly tapped into 50%, and it could just on this internal leg just create another new low. So be patient. We are in that area of reversal. We just need to see some lower time frame shift come about. So pound CAD, I'm still waiting. You know, we just never got a pullback into. So I had an alert set up at 1.72600 after we had this change of character. Just waiting for price to head back up into here and continue selling off. But we never kind of got that. And now price is approaching this somewhat of a demand zone. So we'll wait and see what kind of happens with this. You know, can we get a retracement back into here? Sweep liquidity above these highs. You know, and then mitigate that and then continue selling off. So again, you know, still waiting for this to set up. GJ, still waiting for price to pull back. You know, unfortunately, there's just can't buy here, can't sell here, can't do anything here. I'm not looking to short here. You know, I can see a perfect supply zone, huge imbalance. Makes no sense for me to try shorting where it came up, and there's nothing for me to buy. I don't want to sit here trying to buy this because there's no guarantee that price is going to come up over here. So let's have to be patient and wait for price to play out and mitigate that zone before we can look to start going short on. Now GU, we could see we had an M15 break, we had an internal break here, and we also have this 4-hour demand zone that's unmitigated here. You can see we had this. Now again, it's not the greatest of demand zones because we didn't get aggressive buying here. You know, you could see it was like weak bullish candles, but nonetheless it is a demand zone that can act as a lower time frame pullback zone. So waiting to see if we get something like this happen and we see the lower time frame trend continue bearish and then see the shift to then start to trade this potentially back to the top side, back into areas of supply. But again, everything USD crosses are all pretty much bearish here. We've not seen lower time frame shifts to the top side, nor have we seen any higher time frame structure break. So you just need to be patient and wait. USD CAD. So again, USD CAD, we have a supply zone at this extreme. So we tapped into supply here, but you could see price is just continuously bullish right now. So I'm just waiting to see, can we see any structural shift once we mitigate that? So here we can see we broke below this low here, but I wasn't keen on trying to short again because you could see we had this unmitigated demand zone. So again, area of liquidity, we swept that, tapped into this demand zone, and then started to rally to the top side, and now we've closed above. So for me now, until we don't really see any real significant shift, just got to wait it out with USD CAD. You know, I'm not looking to buy this into that zone because there's no clean demand zone here for me to get involved with. You know, that would have been a good trade down in this area of demand here. Now USD JPY is just consolidating sideways in this zone, so overall still bearish sentiment, but there's nothing really to get involved with as it. And Euro USD, I kind of gold. I kind of said it yesterday that this was a liquidity grab, and we could see price heading back down and entering that 15-minute pullback. Hey DV. But again, right now price is just respecting this demand zone here and bouncing off of this. So currently we've got, we've got this. Can we see a break and a pullback and then continuation down? We'll need to see. Is there anything else anyone's watching? Any trades anyone's in? Anything on your watch list? Can you check CAD CHF is still bouncing? Yeah, I covered CAD CHF earlier. So CAD CHF, it's, so you can see on the daily, like, we had this liquidity grab below these lows, but you could see perfectly on a daily where I've drawn my line, body closure, it's in exactly the same place. Body closure is in exactly the same place. So price is, respecting this area, and like I said, I am expecting upside, but we do really need to see some, it's just horrible price action here. We do need to see some, some momentum shift to the top side. So right now we could see this high and this current low. So you could see price probably working its way back up to 0.65600 to 0.65700 kind of region. But again, it's just so messy. There's no clean price action yet. So because what we had was we had this push up, we had a pullback, we had this minor break above, and then this is the high that put in this low and broke below this low. So, that's the kind of range that we're working within. We have the high, we have the extreme low, everything else kind of internal to that. So now that we've kind of, we created a low, lower high, low, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low. So we could probably see this happening now. So, if price was to pull back into some discounted zones, you could look to get in and trade back up into like 0.65800 kind of region, back up into these zones here. That's the way I would be seeing CAD CHF. Oanda's, yeah, I need to change the rest of mine, to be fair. Oanda's not always the, the greatest. It's CAD CHF. Let's see, Oanda. Yeah, so Oanda has a closure below. But again, it's extremely, it's extremely minor. Broadly, you can see this area is being held, but again, even on the daily, you can see, like, look at these daily candles. It's very messy price action. So you just want to be mindful of that. Right, guys, it was a short one, only half an hour, but yeah, I'm gonna jump off myself. Hopefully, you guys have a good day. Remember, we have Jackson Hole kicking off today, so it's definitely going to be volatility. Do we have any news today? I'm sure we... No, just yeah, we have consumer sentiment, and then apart from that, it's going to be the Jackson Hole press conference. So that will definitely bring in volatility. So be careful, and I'll catch up with